I want everybody to close their eyes, unless you're driving, and imagine the year is 1802. You are standing in the boots of Napoleon Bonaparte.
Chic.
You're even wearing his hat.
Chic.
And you're looking over Paris, trying to figure out the logistics to make some rivers connect and to change the face of not just Paris, but France. The solution? Build a canal. Now, fast forward to 2022, standing in your own shoes.
Even more chic.
And you're looking at the Bassin de la Villette and the Canal de l'Ourcq, the less popular younger brothers of the Canal Saint-Martin.
That's right.
And those two sort of waterways that I mentioned run through the 19th arrondissement of Paris, will be the focus for today's episode, and have created an environment surrounding them that is lively, pulsing, fun.
Just young, modern.
Yeah.
Like new, lots of new builds.
The kind of place where you can have lunch in a house that's been transformed to a restaurant, dinner at a really cool new brewery, and if you fancy, you could take in some classical music at a brand new concert hall.
Don't mind if I do.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Earful Tower podcast. My name's Oliver G.
I'm Lena Nordengy.
And let's take the metro to the 19th arrondissement of Paris.
Let's go.
Ooh, lovely music.
Divine.
We'll be talking more about that show later, especially the venue. The venue. But first, I just want to spell out what's happening here. This podcast is now in season 12. Crazy.
Can you believe it?
I can't believe it.
Wild.
And the idea is every week, Lena and I are visiting a district of Paris. We're calling it the Paris Countdown. Countdown because we're starting at 20, going to 1.
That's right.
Last week was the 20th. Well received, I must say.
Yes.
Thanks to everybody
so
who shared it and commented and so on and so on.
Yeah. Great feedback.
Yeah, it
so
really energized us. It energized us. So this week is the 19th.
Yeah.
And 18, 17, you guys get it all the way to 1. That's what you'll be listening to for the next 20 weeks. I'm not going to spell it out every week, but just so we get in the flow of things. So Lena and I went and stayed 24 hours in this residential kind of area. And it was another big one.
Another big area, yeah.
Yeah, and we kind of learned from the last one, the 20th, that it's too hard to try and see everything.
So. Yeah, you can't fit everything in. You have to kind of focus.
Yeah. So we figured we have a bit of an in here because I used to work right on the canal. And I love the canal. The canal is the Bassin de la Villette. It's not technically a canal. It's like a pond.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not.
But it's connected.
Yeah, it connects the Canal de l'Ourcq and the Canal Saint-Martin.
Yeah.
And a lot of people know Saint-Martin from Amélie, from...
That's right.
It's like in a lot of old movies.
Yeah, it's like the celebrity little sister.
Yeah, but we didn't care about that one. I think in the intro I thought it was the big brother.
Oh, well, now it's the little sister.
I think the Bassin and the Canal de l'Ourcq are a lot less known. And that's cool because we can focus on it. And we spent the whole time around this waterway, visiting people, interviewing people, and getting the vibe, and even sleeping on the water. And we're going to talk about all that in a sec. But first, there's surely people at home thinking, but I don't get it. What's the 19th? Can you define it? And I'm thinking, why would I do it when I could ask Michael Kennedy, who owns the Panam Brewery, which is this amazing tap house right there.
Yeah, it's literally on the canal.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So, and they have is it called a pontoon? A pontoon that you sit on in the summer and you can have a nice drink. Of course, when we visited, it was winter, so we sat inside, but it's really lovely inside. It's like a coffee shop, it's a restaurant. And I said to him, can you define the 19th arrondissement for everybody at home? Here's what he said.
The 19th, well, I suppose you'd have to say it's, as far as Paris goes, it's one of the old, kind of more popular, rough areas, but it's becoming very fast, the sort of Brooklyn, up-and-coming, kind of groovy things happening. There's like coffee shops popping up, breweries, craft beer all over the place. I'd say it's one of those more modern, raw. It has a raw edge to it, but it's very groovy, and there's lots of things happening right, around the water. The Bassin de Villette's beautiful. There's, it's the place to be.
And this, incidentally, that's where your your brew pub slash coffee shop
microbrewery.
slash microbrewery.
We're situated on the Bassin de Villette, which is a really hidden, beautiful part of Paris. Just sort of been recently rediscovered over the last 5 years, and it's becoming more and more popular, especially early spring. As soon as the sun comes out, we've got a 100 square meter floating pontoon on the water, so people are just queuing up down here, outdoor barbecues, loads of craft beer, a happening place to be.
Perfect. And that brings me to my final question for you. If it's a tough one, and I'm sorry, but you do run a brewery. If the 19th arrondissement was a beer, what would it be?
A beer? Well, that is a tough one. I suppose with the edginess of the place and the fact that it's all quite new and raw, I'd probably go with a New England IPA. It's got that, it's fruity, it's colourful, it's we have hops from all over the world. It's multicultural. It's a modern version of an old beer with a new zest.
Sounds like a good idea. Maybe we should have one now.
Let's do it.
All right.
Oh my god, what an ideal question. That was so good. I love it.
It was your question.
What?
We're your co-host now. No, it was a good question and a good answer too.
It's such a good answer.
So he was right. There is this kind of zesty, multicultural vibe. There's a lot
young,
going on.
fresh.
So let's talk a little bit. One of the big interviews we're going to get to in a second is with the guy that runs the floating library. So a boat with books.
Yeah.
And he gives us a really good insight into the district. But first, let's talk about what we did and some of the things we saw. And I think it's best if we do it in a linear order.
Yeah, sure. Like wake up and go kind of thing.
Yeah. So where we checked into was a kind of cool story here too. Because do you remember this? When I first moved to Paris.
Yeah.
And I think
years and years ago.
I think the people who have listened for a while, who've read my book, know that I came in a sort of unusual time. That I don't even want to get into it, but there'd been the Charlie Hebdo terror attack, and I was flown down here really quickly to report on it.
Literally, like next day or same day, sort of thing.
And I stayed in a hotel. The same hotel. I stayed in the same hotel that we stayed in. So I knew of this place, and it's just a Holiday Inn.
So did you feel like a homecoming queen?
No, I didn't. No. But it was this time we every time we're getting a hotel, the idea is twofold. It's one is we want to get something that's got a story, like maybe an unusual boutique hotel or something that was once a brothel or something that has a bit of a background.
Something extra. And also something that sort of represents the area.
And this we figured was really good because it's directly across from the brewery that we just talked about, also on the water. Yeah. So we got it to sleep looking over the water, and that's exactly what we did. We got a room
fifth
or sixth floor, and looking over what do they call it, the marina view, and it was actually wonderful.
It was good,
and I say that with a clear conscience because this isn't sponsored by them. We paid our way, as I said before.
I mean, the room is like
the room is just a room,
very basic,
but they have a huge
nothing
window.
Special. I mean, it's clean enough, but nothing special.
You know what I liked about it, which I didn't think I'd like?
Yeah.
The hotel looks weird because it's got all those bars across it.
I know.
Like a weird, sideways prison bars, sort of.
Yeah, or like a haystack, like a modern cubist haystack.
Yeah, I thought it was quite ugly.
Yeah.
But at night, they light it up in these soft...
like all rainbow colors.
Yeah. Is it neon? I guess it's not neon. Is it?
I guess. Well,
yeah, but like a muted neon, sort of. And so when you're in the room, the window has this border. And I took some videos of it, but you're looking out over the canal at night, all the lights and the people walking under the street lights, really beautiful.
Yeah.
And you've got this red or purple frame. But the hotel, nothing special. Don't get too excited.
No,
if
just
you're in the
cool
area,
view.
If you're in the area, stay there.
Good location.
Get on the top floor. Ask the marina view. When night fell,
so poetic.
It's as usual when our arrondissement exploring got better because as with last week and weeks to come, you guys will hear, we get a babysitter in. And we go out to explore. I don't want to sound like we're raving discotheque lunatics here, but it turns out
quite far from it.
It turns out most of the events are at night.
Yeah.
So we wanted to go to this Philharmonie de Paris, the new concert hall, and go for a restaurant or a drink or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's exactly what we did.
It is, and it was good.
It was really good.
Yeah. So we started with, sticking to the canal theme. We had a drink with some friends on
Antipode.
a boat.
Oh, I think a lot of people might think it's antipode.
Yeah, I thought it was antipode.
Well, it could be, but like you say Antipodean,
Yeah.
which I think means from the other hemisphere. Like, because people call Australians Antipodeans.
Oh, I see.
So maybe Australians can call everyone else Antipodeans as well.
Maybe.
But anyway, it's a boat. Very, like, it feels like a lot of the things that we did were for a younger crowd.
I think it's just maybe a younger area.
Yeah. So if you're not young, you better be young at heart. I think if you want to enjoy the 19th.
Yeah, it's what we said before. It's not polished. It's a bit rough, but it's cool.
Hey, when you say rough, what do you mean though?
I mean, like, it might not be perfectly clean. It might not be perfectly built. They might have put in like, a plastic chair instead of the matching set. That kind of vibe. Like,
so
it's a bit
like
homemade. It's a bit.
You don't think like you're going to get robbed or something? Is that what you?
No. I mean, you might, but you might get robbed anyway.
That's true. I was once, a story I've never told on this show. In Australia, I was once held up at gunpoint on my street that I lived on,
it's
one of the
crazy,
safest streets.
So you never know. But I mean, no, I felt safe.
Yeah, we were
definitely
totally safe. We went for a long nighttime walk.
But no, what I mean is more like, the paint might have chipped off a little bit.
And that was kind of what it was like on this bar.
Thing.
This bar, I started writing the blog post to go with this already, and the way I described it was like youthful vibe, cheap beers in plastic cups.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
What was cool about it was you board it like on a gangplank. You go up, and then you go down the stairs into the bar.
Yeah.
And at the bar, there's like the sort of round windows looking right out at the surface level of the water.
Yeah, it's cool.
It sounds like I'm getting excited talking about boarding a boat, but just the fact that it's in Paris and it's a cool bar.
Yeah, with a whole different vibe. I mean, you're on a boat.
So different to if you think about the like tourist Paris. Most people think Musée d'Orsay.
Exactly.
Or the Eiffel Tower.
Or really like intricate, adorned, cutesy cafe, hotel,
with
bars. That
like
sort of
a penguin
vibe.
waiter.
Exactly.
No, sir, not here.
None of that.
No.
Yeah.
Although the opera.
You get peanuts in a dirty cup.
yeah.
It was good. Yeah.
It was a place. You know what it was when I hadn't seen this for a while. They said you have to pay an extra euro or €1.50 for the cup that we'll give back when you return it. I was like, why? I'll just
rent your own cup?
You have to rent
Really?
a cup. That's probably normal. That's like at a festival or something.
Oh.
I was like,
okay.
all right.
Cool.
Yeah.
What, so if you like chuck it overboard, is that what they think might happen?
I don't know. At least it would float though. Anyway, so that's the antipode.
Yeah. This is the ever-changing name.
And then we really hot-tailed it. In fact, we had to take a taxi because we
panicked a bit.
We were also late in the 20th.
Yeah, we're always late.
Yeah,
that's just
it's because of the baby, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we had to get to this building. Like we'd both had this on our bucket list
for years.
Yeah, since it opened, I think, which was 2015.
Yeah, and since it's like a bit further out, it never really it hasn't come natural. I don't know. I just keep forgetting
It's
about it.
It's on the edge of Paris.
It's on the edge.
And we live on the other side, basically.
Yeah. I guess that says something about this arrondissement as well.
We can get to that afterwards in our ratings at the end.
Maybe, exactly.
But just a little note about this this symphony hall, which is what it is they designed it based on the one in Berlin. All this, you can get all this information online, of course, but the cool fact...
Just set the scene a little.
Just set the scene.
Yeah.
I thought, I'd read that you're never more than 32 meters from the music. They designed it in such a way. And I kind of didn't really get that. I was like, what, it's just a smaller place? But we dressed up nicely, and we got there right on time, like a short taxi ride, went in, and it's so nicely designed. So first, the outside of the building is like reflective. It's like a James Bond invisible car.
I know.
And
that's
in the
such
wrong
a
light,
good
you wouldn't find it.
Yeah. That's exactly what it's like.
Yeah, and it's a sort of odd shape at the back corner of this
it's like an anemone.
Anemone?
Antipode.
What do you mean, like a seashell?
Yeah. The sea, like little, some sort of sea creature.
Sure, yeah.
And speaking of sea creature, I found that the inside, don't you feel like, okay, think back and picture yourself being inside like a futuristic whale carcass.
A futuristic whale.
Yes.
That's it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Do you see it?
You took the words right out of my mouth. Do you mean inside the hall or the whole?
Yeah, inside the actual.
Because even when
hall.
you get into the hall, no, you nailed it. That's exactly what it's like.
That's exactly what it's like.
It's a futuristic whale carcass.
Like if Elon Musk designed it or something.
Yep. That's it.
A white whale.
Well, we can move on from that because
That's
you
it.
can't.
Yeah.
No, but we went to a show. I've got it here. What we went to, it was a Christus trilogy sacré, and we didn't know what we were getting into, and it was a German religious. It was very beautiful.
It was very beautiful.
But they had subtitles in French, and I was sort of keeping one eye on the subtitles.
I know.
And we had our idea. Full disclosure, we said we're always going to be brutally honest with everything that we do. Full disclosure, we knew that we didn't want to sit through the entire 3-hour show, and we were planning to get the cheapest tickets to take a look and maybe leave at halftime.
Yeah.
But I left it too late, so we had to get more expensive tickets. And we still left at halftime. But do you call it halftime? You can tell me. Entr'acte. Entr'acte.
Oh, that sounds way better.
Yeah, that's much better.
Yeah.
I'll start saying that when I go to the basketball games. You guys want to leave at the entr'acte? No, but it was really beautiful. The sound was sort of piercingly beautiful, wasn't it?
It's crisp and warm at the same time. That is great.
Everyone was well dressed. You know what I was really impressed by? Everybody out on a Monday night taking in the culture because it was
almost
sold
full.
out. Yeah, at least all the cheap tickets were gone. So we went to that. Recommend it. Even this is my thing. I'd say I even recommend it if you don't care what they're playing.
Yeah,
how about that?
We didn't. We didn't care. But yeah, just go for the ambience.
Hey, when we say we don't care what they were playing, it was lovely.
No, yeah,
but we didn't
do.
choose them. We chose the place on that day.
Exactly.
Yeah. And we got some nice pictures. Lena surreptitiously took a few videos while they were recording. But
oh my god!
Even though we're
I
sitting
freaked
at
out.
the back,
but I could feel those eyes.
Yeah,
those eyes, they were on me.
And I say we got some films because something we didn't talk about last week is to get with the help of Eddie, my little brother, who's some kind of genius when it comes to images and sound.
He's just very good.
He made the most beautiful YouTube video with all the stuff that we put together, and he's doing it again for the 19th. So subscribe on YouTube, it's free. Just search for the Earful Tower, and you'll be able to see all this stuff that we're talking about.
Exactly.
Good job, Eddie. So anyway, we leave at halftime. These kind of things that we've been doing, by the way.
Yeah.
And again, I've noticed this in future episodes that everyone will hear, reminds me so much of when you and I moved to Paris and we were like young and newly in love and just drinking up this city and like running around between places.
Leaving at halftime.
Especially that kind of like running in and out of places.
I know. I think we just like we were so full of awe for a new city and maybe for each other, who knows?
Yeah.
But
we never hung around to see what would happen.
Everything.
We kept chasing the next thing. Yeah. It reminds me so much, a lot of this kind of stuff. And even this, like we left early, walked through the Parc de Villette, which is a great place to hang out.
Well, it was kind of dark at night.
In the day. Although they lit it really nice with those, more of these kind of muted neon lights.
Yeah.
And the canal is lit up so beautifully at night.
Like rainbow color.
Like worth a long walk.
Nice.
A lot of people out there running even, and the boats and the lights reflecting.
Yeah, it's really good. Surprisingly empty. I guess it was a Monday night. But yeah.
True. But then we on this sort of young vibe, we dropped into a place just based on what it looked like through the window.
Yeah.
It's called Mamakin because we didn't need much. We'd eaten a pizza. We'd eaten at the brewery earlier in the day, Panam Brewery.
And it was delicious.
And it was delicious. Had a coffee too. They do good coffee, by the way.
Yeah, really good.
But at Mamakin, we just dropped in because it I don't know, it reminded me a bit of Montmartre.
Yeah.
It looked like it had that funky vibe.
Very like just kind of thrown together.
Yeah. A mishmash, a real hodgepodge of stuff. For example, there were African masks on the wall next to like a selection of secondhand books, and one was the book What to Expect When You're Expecting.
I know.
On like prime position.
Like you're going to read that in a bar. I'm going to drop in for a beer and a read of this.
Yeah, in English. It was in English too. It was such a mix. And we got like Lebanese food
but it was very charming looking place and super friendly staff. You know, the kind of place where they just hand out free tutti frutti shots to everyone.
And that's what happened again. That used to always happen. So when we left, I was chatting to the guy, and I'm always filming like their hands making the drinks and stuff. And he goes, "Hey, you want a shot on the way out?"
Yeah, I'll have one with you.
Yeah, and I was like, "No, thank you. Like, I'd love to."
Yeah.
but, you know, we're going to go home to our sleeping baby. What's the point? It sounded a bit depressing.
Yeah, that was a bit sad.
But that
It wasn't sad, though.
That vibe was, it's electric.
Yeah.
And
the place was very cute from the outside as well. It looks, very Instagrammable. It looks like a really teeny tiny petite sort of, like the closest thing you can get to a Hansel and Gretel house in the 90s.
With bicycles out the front, sort of young vibe. The young people in there felt like they were either plotting a revolution or planning a pregnancy. But anyway.
And I think there was in fact, I know there was an art gallery upstairs.
Oh,
like just tiny room, but it was cool.
Very different vibe there, spoiler alert, to the art at the Dali Museum, where there was the person there in the 18th.
Hugely different.
Where they tried to sell us a Salvador Dali lithograph, compared to this one, where they're like, come in, have a beer.
They didn't even care. They're like, have a shot.
So anyway, that was our night. We went back, thanks to our babysitter, Anna. I didn't say thanks last week to Julene. We should make a point of that.
We should, because without them, these things would happen.
Yeah, this would be a boring episode.
And then we sat there at the hotel, watched some TV.
Yeah, watching a rerun of The Terminal. So the next day, we packed a lot into the next day and started with a quick coffee at Kaffebar, because I recommend that place already as a really good spot for coffee. But then the sort of main activity happened, and you weren't here for this. But I met with Cyril, who runs the floating library. So I really loved this idea before we went there. The idea, and we're going to hear it in this interview, but just to set the scene, this is one of those big old barge boats. Has been in action for who knows how long, and they've transformed it into this cafe, restaurant, but mostly a bookshop. Bookshop with gardening and plant theme, but just like you have to go there even if you're not in the market for a book about plants. You know,
it's more than
you
just
have
a
to get in
bookshop.
there. And this is where we brought the photographer, Augusta. So there are these incredible pictures of everything you're about to hear now, including of Cyril and me chatting. I want everyone to check that out on the website. Thanks, Augusta. But here's what happened when I sat down with Cyril. Everybody, imagine gently, if you're in a car or if you're sitting down somewhere, gently rock. Even if you're standing, walking down the street, just rock. Who cares what people think? If you're on the metro, do what I'm doing.
Pour a glass of water on your head. If you really want to get into it.
And you will feel that you're on the boat with us. Here's what happened when I chatted with Cyril. We're standing here on your boat, and I love it. I love this boat. Thank you for having us here. But I think we need to understand a little bit about the context. This is the Canal de l'Ourcq, right?
Yes, Canal de l'Ourcq was built actually 200 years ago, more or less, but this part was opened in 1822, and it was built to bring water and supplies in the town, and it stayed this way, and a nice area because it's very quiet. It's not a river with a strong current. No. It was built so just to bring a little bit of water and some boats, and it stayed just a peaceful place.
But does that mean if your boat was on the Seine, it would naturally be a little bit rougher, like the water's rougher?
Yes. Yeah. It's you can feel the current on the sand, but here you mostly never feel it. No. If there is a lot of wind, maybe you will feel a little bit of I don't know, you see it. It will move a little bit.
Sure.
But over the last 4 years, maybe I had two people that felt it.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, like, because I went to the Antipode boat last night, and I felt it there, but I had a strong beer.
Yeah.
So maybe...
It depends. If you read a book, you can feel it too, if it's written small too. But other than that, no. If it's only when there is a lot of wind.
Yeah, right.
And a lot of beer.
Well, let's talk about this place, the district, before we talk a bit more about the boat. You said that the water is quiet. Do you feel that the district is also a little bit more, as in the arrondissement of the 19e? Do you find that to be sort of a different pace to the rest of Paris? Do you think it's representative of Paris? Is it like a different world?
Well, Paris, you can't really say that one place is representative of Paris, because Paris is like a lot of little villages that are stuck together. Everybody that lives in Paris prefer its own little neighborhood. And here it's a different neighborhood of Paris. It is very quiet, actually, peaceful. There is a lot of different people living here. And the mix is very good here because it's a peaceful arrondissement. And sometimes it doesn't have a good publicity, but in the reality, it's very peaceful. It's probably the waters that calm people. I don't know. There is a lot of greeneries too. I mean, green places.
Yeah.
You know,
the Butte Chaumont, for example.
Butte Chaumont, yes. It's a public garden. There is a very big one too nearby called La Villette. And on top of that, there is a lot of semi-public places like community garden, and those community gardens show that people here need the green, the plants. You know, they take on their time and their energy to make it grow.
I want to ask one more question about the neighborhood. I've been here for 24 hours now, and I kind of know it. I used to work here for a couple of years. You don't see many tourists. And I mean, like, you know, red beret wearing, a camera on a selfie stick tourist taking selfies. I don't think I've seen any. Do you think that's a fair?
It's this way in Paris. For people who live and people who visit it, they go mostly in the center, but you have a lot of places that are interesting around it. And Paris is growing, and politics wants to make it grow officially too, so maybe one day it will be more in the center, but right now it's a bit on the outskirts.
Yeah, but this is sort of the outskirts of Paris, because we're not just in the 19th here, we're at the edge of the 19th. And I wonder if you agree. I think that Pontin, the next sort of suburb outside of the city, is becoming so cool that the 19th has to be the next really cool place. You know, like the 19th is like the 10th 15 years ago. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it goes like this. You know, the fourth became a very arty place, and then it grew into something that was too expensive. So people were like bohème and things like that moved to the 11th maybe 10 years ago, and now they're moving to the 19th. It's like a stream that is going this way.
What is going the opposite way to the canal?
Then it's following the canal, you know, and we're now getting out of Paris, and nearby everything is changing along the canal. After the Péniche, you have a lot of places that are focusing on green places, you know, and that's something that's lacking inside of Paris. And here we have the space, and it's changing in that direction.
And you mentioned green spaces again. I feel like you're bringing the conversation magically to the boat, but that's exactly where I want to go, because this boat, you're a floating bookshop, and that's just in itself is really cool. But there's also this theme of botany. As you walk down the stairs, and I'm sure everyone will see the pictures that I'll share, but as you walk down the stairs, you're surrounded by, what have we got, ferns, and it was that like a orange tree or something that I saw on the left?
Yes.
It's a green space, and all the books are of the same theme. How did that happen?
Well, along the way, it's a pleasure that has been always. It's always been something that I need, you know, plants, be around plants and taking care of them, and you find out that when you take care of a plant, it's taking care of yourself in return, and it's always good to have plants around, you know, to take the time to place them, to see what they like, you know, in terms of light and water and everything. And it's a good way to escape your problems sometimes, you know, when you have things that you can't take it anymore, like paperwork, you know, plumbery problems. Or
that's a
things
very
like that.
French problem, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then you go in your plants, and everything is better.
Yeah. You got this. How long ago did you get this place?
About 4 years ago, in 2018, and it was a bookshop. Sorry. About water and sea and.
Oh, so the person before also had a theme.
Yes.
They had a theme of water and sea, and then you changed it to plants and
yes. Changed blue into green.
Yeah.
Yes.
But like, why? Like, firstly, why a theme for a bookshop? Is that that's a niche market we were talking about before?
I went into that personally because I love plants, and I know that Didier, who was here before me, he's a sailor and he loved the sea, and that was the idea anyways when I came here, and I know that it was the case for him too, to do what you like, you know. And my main goal when I took over here was to have a place where I could work, and every morning I wanted to go to work. Great. Every morning I wake up and I want to come here.
Great.
And I get pleasure to come here, and so that's the main accomplishment for me here. And along the way, when you do that, you create a place that other people might like too, and it's growing into this kind of place where people, I think, feel a good vibe here.
And 4 years on now, do you still feel that excitement to come to work every morning?
Yes.
Great. And what about for the books, which I think you got a couple in English, but they're mostly in French, right?
Yes, mostly because it's very practical, this theme, and people need to read how to take care of one kind of plant or how to do things.
I see.
So it's mostly in French, and
so it's like gardening books as well, like tips for gardening.
Yes,
as
it's
well as
gardening. It's about trees. It's about how to landscape. It's about magical powers of plants.
Nice. And something I think that we should add as well, because there are surely people listening to this podcast who maybe don't speak a word of French, maybe they don't have a garden, but they should still visit because there's a lovely coffee shop and it's restaurant as well, right?
Yes, it's a restaurant as well. And if you mention people who come here who don't speak French, sometimes they see the bookshop and they ask for a book that will help them learn French. And we have a little collection that I did for teenagers, that easy books to read. And cool. Teenagers don't buy one single book here after 4 years, but English people or foreigners, who want to take the time to learn French, they buy those books, like Le Petit Prince, for example.
Of course, yeah.
And it's easy language book, and so it's something that developed along the way.
As I recall in the Petit Prince, there's a chapter about a rose. Mm-hmm. Do you remember? He gets a rose. Someone has a rose that they keep in a glass dome. Mm-hmm. There's your botany angle. There you go. You can have it on the show.
He also has an elephant inside a snake.
Right. That's right. Yes. And there's a boab tree as well. It's a botany book. There you go. Yeah. But let's finish on this the cafe, because as I walked in, there were a couple of. It sounded like there were American students sitting there. Do you get a lot of foreigners coming here, like touristy kind of people?
A little bit. You mentioned the tourist earlier. We used to have a little bit more before everything stopped for the pandemic, and now it's coming a little bit back. We are nearby the village that attracts a lot of people, and now the canal between the heart of Paris and the village is a walkway. Before it was just an empty place in between, but now it's a walkway. There's nice restaurants, and so people are starting to realize that. Great. Mostly locals, but also foreigners, and it's always easier to sell a coffee than a book. So we developed this cafe. It was just a cafe at the beginning, and it grew into a restaurant. And I have my good friend Nunos who's doing wonderful food around mostly seafood and fish.
Is it fish caught from the canal?
No.
They're not edible, are they?
Although, there are, I guess, because...
You eat them?
No, I don't. No. But I see a lot of people who fish them. Yeah. And that's easy. That's a funny thing about it, is that a lot of fish live here because of... among things, the reason why is is there are some Buddhist people who live nearby in the little Chinese area, and sometimes they throw 200, 300 live fish in the water, make a prayer, and so when I ask them for what, they say it's for the sake of my grandchildren who was just born or something like that.
Oh, wow.
So they bring life into the canal. Yeah,
wow.
But it's actually a very live place. It's full of fish and birds, and it's really nice.
I saw in the news the other day that they caught a big catfish, silur, here,
yes,
like a
yes,
2 meter,
huge.
enormous, more
Yes,
than 2
huge
meters.
one. Yeah.
But I want to finish on this. The last question. Have you ever taken this boat away from the mooring? Can you ride it? Can you drive it?
Yeah. It's the engine is fully operational, and I feel that sometime when I'm tired of this place, I will take it and go somewhere else. Yeah,
I love it. Cyril, thank you so much for having me on your boat.
Thank you, Oliver.
If you ever take it for a joyride one night, please call me up because I want to be here.
I will.
Okay,
no problem.
And to all the people listening to this who maybe want to come visit, is it okay if they try and track you down and say hello to Cyril?
Yeah, sure, with pleasure.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, you know what to do. Merci, Cyril. So there you have it.
I feel like I got my sea legs. You?
Cyril, lovely guy.
Really nice.
Makes you want to buy a plant.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you need the name, it's in the show notes, but you can just search Péniche Café or Librairie Botanique.
That's a hard word. Librairie.
That's a hard word.
Yeah.
Bookshop.
Yeah, that's better.
Not library, false friend.
Yeah.
So anyway, the day ended with a long walk down the canal.
This is very canal focused, as we said. Yeah.
And I think we talk about the cafe that we went to and then give our rankings.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so we went to a place called La Rotonde, which is it's from the French Revolution. It's an old toll booth, but enormous toll booth.
Yeah. Very beautiful.
Yeah.
Building.
Yeah, just
You know,
the building
it's
on the outside is beautiful.
yeah,
This big circular.
It's like a little Colosseum vibe.
Yeah, and it's right at the edge of the bassin, so it's like really big open around it, pedestrianized. I wouldn't go as far as saying it's like a tourist attraction.
No, far from.
But it's stunning
cool.
in its way. And it's got that kind of vibe. You know, in Paris, a lot of people take the picture of the metro going across the Bir Hakeim Bridge because the metro is elevated.
Yeah.
You got the same thing there. The big elevated metro behind this beautiful building.
Yeah.
Worth a look. But if you go, you must go inside because it's really happening in there.
Yeah,
this isn't so
really
much for a
nice.
younger crowd. Anybody could go there.
Yeah, it's very mixed.
Yeah, nice restaurant. There's bars. There's events in the evening, especially in the summer. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's like a gallery as
Yeah,
well. I think they do
yeah.
all sorts.
But there's offices upstairs.
It's like
too.
beer garden in summer.
But we went specifically for lunch, and it was a really good lunch. Do you remember what you had?
Yeah, I had some sort of quinoa salad
Yeah.
with goat's cheese.
I had like a ravioli, I think. The place was very visually pleasing too because it's this big circular building with a glass ceiling.
Yeah, it's like what do you call it? An atrium.
An atrium, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same word. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like, sort of inside. It's
yeah.
a big, huge, lit up.
Very tastefully done.
Really
Everyone
nice.
in the area should go there for lunch. I loved it. It was great.
Yeah, good quality food, fresh.
And what else? The other thing they had that I liked, two things. One, they had a photo booth.
I loved the photo booth.
Yeah.
I loved it so much. I'm obsessed.
I'm looking at the picture now. I can see it on the wall. There's this whole story, like because we were in the three of us
In 4 acts.
Yeah, and there's like I'm not going to go in great depth in it, but it's like there's a screaming baby. There's trying to comfort the baby. There's trying to smile for the
There's
picture.
surprise.
It all happens. So
There's
quickly.
sadness.
It's
There's joy.
7 stages of photo booth. We'll share it. We'll put it in the
So
YouTube
in other
video.
words, we used the photo booth.
Yeah, oh yeah, you always use a photo booth.
Yeah.
We've been getting sort of little souvenirs from some of these districts. You know what I wish I had from the 20th? I wish that the Edith Piaf singer signed one of the lyrics pages.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it's not too late.
You can go up there and sneak one.
Yeah. Anyway, I did something fun here that we haven't really talked about. I asked as we went in, it was really busy, and I said, hey, can I go up to the top and look around, see the view, see the ceiling, whatever? And he's like, I'll have to talk to my boss. And I read between the lines. I know what he meant. He meant when I'm not looking, sneak up there.
Yes, totally.
So they always...
That's totally what he meant.
So, you know, I feel like I remember that he sort of winked to me.
Oh, yeah.
As if to say, now
Yeah.
I'm turning my back.
You sure he didn't have something in his eye?
I was gone.
Bit of couscous.
I snuck away past the photo booth. Found this. They left the door open for me.
Oh yeah, of course.
It was lunchtime, so I think the office
Arrows, breadcrumbs up the stairs.
No, arrows pointing the other way, like to
weird.
the toilets. Yeah, no, I read between all the lines, and I went up the stairs. I was a bit nervous.
Why? You read between the lines.
I think we've talked about it on the show about something else, that I do all these like semi-daring things, sneaking into buildings and all this, but I get really nervous doing it.
I know,
sometimes.
you're like the worst stuntman. If we can call it
I'd be the worst thief ever, bank robber. So I went all the way up to the top, this beautiful winding staircase. I took videos and everything, and to the wooden, what do you call it when there's the half timbered interior at the top, like what props up the ceiling from 200 years ago. And I opened one of those square windows at the top.
Oh my God, you did not.
And I had my good camera with me, and I took some pictures of the canal on a view that no one's ever seen before. No one. Even the office workers probably, because I really stuck my head out there. And I got a cool picture of the metro. The overground metro too. All these will be shared on social media, blog, blah, 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 blah.
You know the drill.
I think everybody... I say that, and you say that.
I know.
The amount of times I get emails from people at home...
No one knows the drill.
Read between the lines. No, but people message and go, well, I followed on Facebook this week because you've been saying it, and now I get all the extra pictures and videos that go with it. I'm like, yeah, that's what I've been talking about. They all go hand in hand.
Yeah, it's a whole experience.
And YouTube especially right now. So anyway, that was really cool, and snuck back down. No one knew anything had happened. I think I might do a blog post about what I found up there. Because I took all these extra pictures.
Yeah, you should.
I will. That means it's time for us to give our score for this district. If you didn't listen last week, we've got 5 categories ranking the district. We're not going to spend ages discussing our scores, but the idea is it gives a score out of 100. The first is strollability. Like, out of 10, how good is it to stroll around in the 19th?
I put a 6.
I give it a 7. I was thinking that canal is made for strolling.
Yeah.
And the Bouchemont, the Parc Villette, it's a very good open area.
But apart from that...
Yeah, there are areas where...
The between areas, it's not...
Very residential and boring.
Yeah, I could stretch to a 7.
Well, you know, it's etched in zinc.
It's
Affordability.
Affordability, 7.
I gave it an 8.
8, okay.
You know, some of the restaurants were just normal prices for Paris, I thought. But in general, like
slightly cheaper.
Yeah, but like we went to places with a beer in a plastic cup. You're not going to get that in the 7th arrondissement anyway. So 2 high scores there. Yep. You have to stick with them. Shareability, and this means like if you take a picture, it's easy to share with your friends. Put on social media.
You start on this one.
6.
5.
Yeah, we're kind of on the same wavelength here. There are some beautiful things. We got some great pictures of the canal, but touristability, I gave 3.
You gave 3?
Yeah, if you're a tourist here, with a selfie stick and your beret,
I feel like
gonna be disappointed.
Yeah, you'll be disappointed. Yep. But if you're a tourist here with like a director's stick, you know,
what's a director's stick?
You know, the orchestra director's stick. You're into
wand.
that. Yeah, the magic wand, and
you
know, you got your paddles with you, and you know, this is the place for you. But yeah, on the whole, 4 and 3.
What paddles?
You know, for the canal.
Oh,
paddle around.
Yeah, if you bring your tools.
Yes.
I think if it's your 2nd or 3rd or 4th, 5th, 6th.
Exactly,
you can be a tourist anywhere, of course. But both low scores there. Accessibility, as in how easy it is to walk around the district and to get to everything else in Paris.
Yeah. 3.
4. Yep. So
wow, we're really
in sync there.
We were never on the same one, though.
No.
We were always like a little bit stingy or a bit generous.
What was your total score out of 50?
25.
Ooh, 25 out of 50. I was 28.
I'm so stingy.
No, that's good. I'm glad that they were close. So that's a total of 53, taking the 19th arrondissement into top place in all of Paris out of the 2 that we've got.
Zooms past the 20th.
Yeah, wow. Which I think was 49.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
This whole season, in fact, every single thing from the Earful Tower is made possible by the Patreon supporters. Now, you've probably noticed there's no ads in this show. we paid for every single thing we did, so we weren't influenced by a free hotel night or something.
So literally no ads.
Yeah, we researched it, we chose it out, and it was only possible because of the Patreon supporters.
Yeah.
I recommend people sign up for $10 a month, $10 US. You can pay in like almost every currency now, I think, as it grows. But when you sign up, you get extra bonuses. For example, the video that we did in the boat, which we did afterwards, went and explored everything. Mm-hmm. So you can only watch that video live or the replay if you're a member.
Yeah.
You also get the guides, you get access to all the other stuff.
Exactly.
You get membership.
Lots of cool things.
You make this happen. You know, if you're a member, you can think, like when we say, then we went for coffee here, you can sit there thinking, well, I sorted that one out for him. I don't mind. That's your coffee out there, John Smith.
Yeah.
But also, it's not just the Patreon members we want to thank. There's a lot more going into it behind the scenes. I want to thank Charlotte Pleasance, who's
a researcher.
Yeah, not just researcher. She's helping out with putting it all together afterwards as well.
Should we say fixer?
We can ask her what she wants to be. Yeah.
All around awesome.
Yeah, so thanks Charlotte. Thanks Eddie G, my brother, for editing the video on the podcast episode.
Yep.
Thanks to Augusta Sagnelli, taking these beautiful photographs, which I think has taken it to the next level.
Yeah, stunning.
And thanks to Anna for babysitting this week.
Yeah.
And I think that thanks to you as well, Lena.
Well, thank you. Without you, there's no Earful Tower after all.
Well, there you go. And thanks to all the listeners as well for following along. Make sure you check it out on every channel. Next week, we're going to the 18th arrondissement of Paris, where we lived for 2 years.
Yep.
Montmartre. Where the lovers cried and the poets dreamed. Think artist, think this kind of bohemian vibe. Think views from the hills over Paris.
Exactly.
There's
think
a lot
Amelie and, just think.
Yeah, just think.
Just think.
And we'll see you there with another episode from the Earful Tower. Thanks very much for listening.
Thank you so much.
And au revoir.
See ya.